The TVP UK Activism Hangout. It's Monday the 11th of May. I'll be your host, Mick Pettinger, and Ludus will be my slave. Today we're going to run through some of the frequently asked questions, some of them from last week just verbally, and then we're going to give mine, Aidan, and Ludus's answers, and then find out what the real answers are, and see if we got any of the keywords used in the answers correct. So, Ludus, what is the Venus Project?
Research-based facility in Venus, Florida. As far as I remember, 24 acres grounds, which serves as the first phase accomplishment to show how approximately the future would look like if the proposals of the Venus Project were to come to fruition. And that's kind of the short end of it.
Cool. Why is a resource-based economy? See, we did this last week and it's gone straight out of my head. Do you want to try what is a resource-based economy, Ludus?
Sure. A global socioeconomic model which proposes to announce all the Earth's resources as common heritage of all the world's people, and to use the scientific method for distribution and management of resources intelligently. It proposes to do a global survey to first find out what actually exists on Earth, and not just resources, but how many sick people there are on Earth, how many schools must be built, what kind of resources even exist to build those schools and the hospitals and everything else that's needed, energy determinant systems. Everything will have to be put essentially through a test, and if the test holds up to the scrutiny of science, then it passes.
Sweet, man. Very good, very good. Right, so we're on to question 3. And yeah, what if you want, we'll go through Aidan's answer, my answer, then your answer, and then we'll find out what the actual answer is. So the frequently asked question 3 is, why do you feel an approach as revolutionary as the Venus Project is necessary? And Aidan's answer was, we feel that the current system attempts to perpetuate its position of differential advantage through only implementing patchwork systems that don't address the root causes of our problems. A revolutionary approach such as the Venus Project is needed because we need to address the core issues which face us. Only through a revolutionary change in our perception of ourselves in relation to the universe. Time is running out before our current systems cause a major ecological disaster that humanity might not recover from, hence the need for a resource-based economy quickly. And I put a lot shorter answer, which was, because the current system is outdated and cannot be sustained. You cannot have infinite growth on a finite planet. The suffering seems only to get worse. When the old system collapses, we will need to have a new one to replace it. Do you want to read your answer out, Ludus?
Sure, yeah. Fresco has addressed this in some videos. To paraphrase, he said something like this: everything else is patchwork. Or, so long as you accept some parts of the system, you'll have to deal with the system's consequences. Also, the only reason why this is seen as revolutionary is only because we are not brought up with values which educate how to relate or to understand human beings and societies and cultures which differ from our own. Excuse me. We live in an insane world. In a sane world, the Venus Project's proposals would be a natural next phase of humankind.
Sweet, man. So I'll read the actual answer out, which is, our current system is not capable of providing a high standard of living for everyone, nor can it ensure the protection of the environment because the major motive is profit. Businesses aren't entirely to blame, they are forced to operate this way in order to retain the competitive edge. Additionally, with the advent of automation, cybernation, and artificial intelligence, there will be an ever-increasing replacement of people by automated systems. As a result, fewer people will be able to purchase goods and services, even though our capability to produce in abundance will continue to exist. This is well documented in Jeremy Rifkin's book, The End of Work, The Decline of the Global Labour Force and the Dawn of the Post-Market Era. And the Venus Project offers a fresh approach that reverses the negative aspects experienced in our current applications of automation and artificial intelligence. This project eliminates the disastrous consequences that such approaches can have on our society, i.e. the displacement of millions of workers, skilled and unskilled alike. So, I'm looking for keywords now.
Sorry, I was muted myself, so you couldn't hear me. What about we focus on key concepts rather than key words to find if we make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what would you name key concepts as what the official answer was?
Not capable of providing a high standard of living for everyone and protecting the environment in this system is, in this system we don't provide a high standard of living and we don't protect the environment because the major motive is profit. So we feel that the current system attempts to perpetuate its position of differential advantage through online patchwork systems. Does it talk about patchwork? Businesses aren't entitled to blame, they are forced to operate this way. Automation, artificial intelligence.
But that's additionally what I wanted to add, essentially, automation and loss of job through robots. So 3, really, if we just look out for.
Yeah, and that this is the reason it needs to be revolutionary, because we're going to get replaced. Automation of jobs, which I don't think I said any of.
I didn't either. I didn't even touch it.
Because the current system is outdated and cannot be sustained. Infinite growth on a finite planet. Suffering is only unique when the old system collapses. I said the old system collapsing, but I don't think I didn't put it to automation.
Okay, well, so after all of that,
Did we all fuck up that?
no, the hell with that. More to the point is, so you now read the official answer.
Yeah.
What do you understand? So if we just literally just like simpletons focus on the precise words of why do you feel an approach as revolutionary as TVP is necessary? So you can now tell me why, yes?
Yeah, no, I can't. I have to go back to the because
That's fine. That's what we're here, though, man.
Because of automation, the system's going to collapse anyway, and because the standards of living are no good in this system, and protecting the environment is no good in this system. It's too hard to do. So, as a summary, so that's
Cool.
about it.
Okay.
So shall we move on to question 4? Isn't it just decent people that we need in government? Do you want to do your answer first, Ludus?
Okay. If those decent people who have no understanding of physics, engineering, agronomy, and many, not supposed to be may, and many other factors which shape human societies and development, then you will have a human who wishes well, but has no actual understanding of how to achieve their proposed goals. This is why a global survey is proposed as a means to establish what the Earth contains and what can actually be built and developed. Scientific method will steer what is or isn't done, not opinions, no matter how well meant.
Yeah. I tried to explain to people that when they were talking about the elections and whether voting would change things, but yeah. My answer, because the economy runs the politicians and not the other way around, it doesn't matter how ethical a person you have in power is, they have to do what the economy or money dictates to them. And Aiden's answer is people are corruptible, even though simple mechanisms such as confirmation bias, it is not sin. Even through simple mechanisms such as confirmation bias, it is not sane to leave decisions in the hands and opinions of individuals who cannot escape their cultural backgrounds. Today, there is so much information constantly coming in that it is becoming impossible for humans to understand all this information and make unbiased, timely judgments. However, an RB, run an RB, we use computers to calculate. However, in an RB, we use computers to calculate all the relevant variables and use these to come to unbiased and accurate decisions. So, decent people have no understanding and agronomy, male factors. Right.
Would you like me to read the official answer?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay. It is not enough to criticize, point out the shortcomings of society, or advocate that people of high moral character be elected into office. This would do little to advance civilization. What is needed is the intelligent management of the world's resources and the comprehensive and workable arrangement of environmental and social affairs that are in strict accord with existing resources and the carrying capacity of our planet. Even with the election of men and women of impeccable character into government, without available resources and advanced technology, war, poverty, and corruption will prevail no matter how many new laws are passed or treaties signed. It is not democracy that elevated our standard of living. It is our resources, water, arable land, and new technology. Rhetoric and paper proclamations are irrelevant in the management of human and social affairs.
Yes, I think you got the to do with where's it gone? The people not having an understanding of physics, engineering, agronomy, etc. They're like the things that we need to produce food and etc. Without that technology, we wouldn't be able to survive. And I think all three of us kind of said that even with the election of men and women of impeccable character into government, it's not going to help. But they did say that it's due to we need the resources and the technology to eliminate poverty, war, and corruption.
Ironically, this is kind of a little bit what we were talking about when people just really do what the fuck they want. Remember?
Yeah. It is not enough to criticize. Yeah, so I think we were closer than we have been on other questions. So shall we move on, or have you got anything you want to talk about?
I just want to see if you agree with what I sort of have a little short summary of the official answer.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So without a direction, one can't move forward. But also, if the direction doesn't meet what realistically exists and what's available to you, you also crash. So the two must work together. And again, that's nothing to do with how nice you are.
Yeah.
Or you could literally be an asshole. But if that asshole is completely familiar with the sciences and how to work the existing resources and materials to make people's life better, then if it holds up to science, it goes.
Yeah. That makes sense, man.
Okay.
Question 5. Elaborate a bit, if you will, on your views regarding money. Let me have a look. I'll start with my answer on this one. Money was used as a tool for trade when things were scarce. Now we can create things in abundance, but money puts a limit on that abundance and creates corruption amongst the elites, as well as the illusion of scarcity for the poor. If you eradicate money, you eradicate the majority of crime. Do you want to read yours out, Ludus?
All right. Banks, seems like most, if not all of them, use a fractional reserve banking system in which banks can make out loans for 9 times the amount they have in the vault. This practice of printing money in time devalues the currency itself. When corporations go bust, the public tax money is there to bail them out every time. Iceland perhaps being the only recent example I know of where the banks were not bailed out but jailed. Well, not banks, that was silly. That was grammar error. Bankers. Regardless, This economical model is obsolete and detrimental to the environment, since economists themselves regard the oceans, rivers, trees, and animals, and human life as externalities. If these necessary factors for life are considered as externalities, then the system is not only detrimental, it's insane.
In the membrane. Right, so Aiden's answer is money is used to ration a person's access to resources. However, the money itself is not related to the resources available on the planet. In fact, it is largely a construct of human cultural imagination. Money does not represent resources, and it is resources which are indicative of whether an action is possible or not. So if you want, I'll read the first paragraph of the actual answer, and you can read the second. If all the money in the world were destroyed, as long as we have sufficient arable land, the factories, the necessary resources, and technical personnel, we could build anything and even supply in abundance. During the Depression, there were vacuum cleaners in store windows and automobiles in car lots. The earth was still the same place. There was just no money in people's wallets and very little purchasing power. At the beginning of World War II, the US had about 600 first-class fighting aircraft. We rapidly overcame this short supply by turning out over 90,000 planes per year. The question at the start of World War II was, do we have enough funds to produce the required implements of war? The answer was no. We did not have enough money or gold, but we did have more than enough resources. It was the available resources and the technical personnel that enabled the US to achieve the production and efficiency required to win the war.
It appears that the real wealth of any nation is in its natural resources and its people who are working toward a more humane lifestyle through the elimination of scarcity. All social systems, regardless of political philosophy, religious beliefs, or social mores, ultimately depend upon natural resources, i.e., clean air and water and arable land area, and the industrial equipment and technical personnel for a high standard of living. The money-based system was designed hundreds of years ago and was hardly appropriate for that time. We still utilize this same outmoded system, which is probably responsible for most of today's problems. I have no doubt that even the wealthiest person today would be far better off in the high-energy society that the Venus Project proposes.
Sweet. So did any of us say that we could survive? It's the resources that we need. So the money itself is not related to the resources available on the planet. So Aiden kind of said that in a way. That money's not related to resources. And it's resources which are indicative of whether an action is possible or not. So you got that one. Money was used as a tool for trade when things were scarce. So does it say anything about abundance in this answer? Because I've just read it in
The what now?
in the actual answer, does it say anything about we can create things in abundance? We could build anything and even supply in abundance. Yeah. So I got that. And in the banks, which can make out loans for 9 times the amount. Devalues because regardless the economic model is obsolete. And yeah, I think you said the economic model is obsolete.
Yeah. So yeah, like just
think
like
we're
last
all-
week, you pointed out that we sort of collectively know our stuff.
Yeah. So summarize this. The answer. If all money in the world were destroyed. Yeah, basically, I think it's saying that if it depends on whether we've got the resources and the technical capability to do something, rather than the money to do it. Money's not useful; resources are.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's all the questions we've just flown through.
Okay. No, it's true. The Do you remember we had to prepare questions and stuff?
Oh yeah, I've got one.
Okay, do it.
It's for the question, why do you feel that an approach as revolutionary as the Venus Project is necessary? I've got, don't you think capitalism can outgrow this planet, and expand into the solar system to make itself sustainable, for example, by mining from asteroids, meteors, and inhabiting other planets or the moon?
Holy shit. Wait. But that's still very clever, but only if I can actually find the answer within the official response.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
No, it's just, can I?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Well, I suppose it's that even then, if we started mining meteors and asteroids and stuff, we'd still be like using money when we should be looking at resources. But hang on, isn't?
That's a fucking hell of a question, dude. What the hell?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I think, why do you feel that an approach is revolution as the Venus Project? Yeah, what I was thinking is like when you hear Ray Kurzweil talk about that capitalism can work, it can go through all these changes, technological changes, and carry on working. As I say, into mining asteroids and stuff.
Oh.
So it's like saying, do we need a resource-based economy, or could capitalism change? So I suppose.
Okay, so no. The answer is still no, and well done. Man, you're a fucking clever guy. The official answer is still to do with the concept of automation. So if especially bringing up Ray Kurzweil of all people,
Yeah.
if he's literally saying that we're gonna shoot past this stuff that we call human, and we're gonna be fucking nanobots connected within our even brain cells of all things, what? No, forget about it. Who's gonna do your menial tasks? It's gonna be the automated, crude forms of robots, or even maybe advanced shit. I mean, we're not sure obviously what the timeline we're talking about.
Yeah.
But if it is already that, then, well, I would say we're missing the mark by a long shot, because obviously there's more than enough of stuff on Earth to mine and the complete demolition of older cities when a new one is built, and mine them for steel, glass, stone, whatever other residue is there. I mean, come on, that's more than enough. And with education, but the point I'm trying to bring up is just automation alone. So the jobs would still be done by machines. So who are the people who would get the money from the said activities of mining and stripping of moons and meteors? So it's still a rank deal for humans.
Yeah, that's a good point. So like the poor can't afford to buy anything.
Right.
Yeah. And I was thinking as well, like it leaves so many poor. I don't know. I don't want to go into Hollywood, but really, Elysium, like so many people having so much, and then the rest are all fucked and can't buy anything anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So your question was for the question. Elaborate a bit, if you will, on your views regarding money. Go on then.
Okay. Well, if not money, how else can you achieve a high standard of living?
Through resources, and I think it'd be a higher standard of living than using money, because even the person at the top who's got the highest amount of money right now, he's got to worry about the other people that want to take over his business or steal his things. So if there's no ownership anymore, and resources are just shared, or you've got shared access to what you need or want, then you don't have to worry about being stolen from. You haven't got the stress of worrying about people stealing from you, and you haven't got to spend lots of money on securing all that stuff.
Very cool. I do have to say, man, I can clearly see how stale my questions are compared to yours. I just really, I couldn't. It was difficult for me to come up with these questions.
I think it's the question. What was it? Elaborate a bit, if you will, on your views regarding money. Is kind of a sentence, not a question.
Well, I did have another, which is, what does the World War II example prove?
Say that again.
what does the World War II example prove? What does that example prove? What does it give you?
The answering the frequently asked questions.
Correct.
What does this prove? This answer?
No, their official answer on the 5th. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Right.
what does this prove? When we needed resources, but we didn't have the money, we were able to technically and with the resources create the things we needed at the time, which was planes. Whereas if we'd have been only going on money, then we might not have won the war.
Cool. Yeah.
Sweet man. Where's Andrew Fry? I'm gonna kick his ass. Yeah, we're out. We're out, man. Is there anything you want to discuss? Any ideas?
Well, first, I just wanted to ask, do you feel that this way of learning actually works? Do you feel that this is a sufficient way to go forward?
Yeah, I think if we keep going back through them, like Aidan suggested, going like next week, we'll go back through the other 5 questions and try and verbally answer them. See if we get them anywhere near right. But I mean, I think it'll help for me because I just forget everything as soon as I've read it. It's like just gone. I have to reread
Okay.
everything. So going over things a couple of times, I think will help at least me. What do you think? Do you think it'll help you?
Oh, well, no, that's my question was more about the scope which we cover. So right now we're kind of, fuck it, I'm going to use the word limiting ourselves in how we ingest info because we're literally saying that it's FAQ only, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think we should expand? So we just say, okay, whatever you can pick up on the website alone, you can use as your answer, and that's still fair game.
Mm.
The question is related to, would you think that would be too much work is essentially all I'm asking.
Yeah, I think like with the frequently asked questions, at least we've got it stuck in right under the question.
Right.
We've got the answer right under the question, and we can easily flick to it. I was thinking maybe no. We'll stick with the frequently asked questions as well. We'll see what Aidan says next week. He's the boss, man.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. What about you, man? Do you have any other notes? Do you have any suggestions or sort of questions in regards to what we did? Are
I
you actually
don't.
happy with your ability to answer these questions if just some guy rolls up on you or a girl and goes, "Hey, what's all this? Why can't we just have nice people in politics?"
I think I I think I already go through this kind of thing. If somebody rolled up on me and said, if we just had like I don't know the most ethical political party, and would you vote for him? And I always say, not in these words, you know what I mean? I'll say, if you had Mother Teresa in power, I think has Jacques given that example before. But if you have Mother Teresa in power, then she still can't do anything because it's the economics, the laws of economics that run society. The politicians, to me, are just there to give us an illusion of that we have some say in what happens. Whereas if it was like a real democracy, then we'd be voting for where taxes went to. But then that'd be like an incompetent democracy because maybe we don't know where the best place for his taxes to go is.
Ooh.
So I also say like for it to be a competent democracy, these people in power would have to be scientists and technicians and engineers who knew how to get the resources to the people, or technically feed, house, locally produce and distribute. But we haven't. It's all like a big game of Monopoly. So yeah, the ethical person. Oh, and that's what I also say. The there is no ethics when it comes to economics. economics always divides itself away from moral and ethical standards. So if we're running an economic system, then we can't have morals. We can't have ethics. It's like people in this day and age, I think, try to have morals and ethics, but then they always come up to a limiting factor, like they need their money to feed themselves, so they can't help somebody else. So until we get rid of money, then we can't really look at morals and ethics as thoroughly as we'd like to.
Okay. On the same subject of, for instance, and that was a beautiful mention of, so who's to say that if we did have a complete democracy and everybody raised hands on where the tax money went, who's to say that we even know how to allocate that money supply adequately or appropriately? The actual real life example of this, I can't remember the little town, um, somewhere more towards the north. This was an actual documented video. I can't remember either Channel 4 or BBC covered the story, which is a town had, I'm going to say I figured 20,000 pounds. I can't remember. It was in the range of 20 to 24,000 pounds to spend. However, the town is to vote on who gets the money and how it gets spent. So it just went like that. It just went, there's no rigging. It was just people throwing their little piece of paper. And it came down to either you renovate a church or you renovate rail tracks. Do you want to venture a guess where it went?
Don't tell me I went to the church, man.
It did.
Oh,
But that's, so there you go. Your concern is, and if anything, your stance is completely validated. I mean, people will just do what their background and their values say for them to do. I mean, what else you can only function on what you know, right?
I had something in my head. Then somebody mentioned something in an orientation hangout, but I forgot it. It's gone.
You really did seem very sad at that moment as well. Gone.
I am. uh, yeah, we need more people in these hangouts, man.
We need to what now?
We need more people in these hangouts. Seems to flow a bit more.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine, man.
Yeah, so in that case, what I'll do is I'll go back to another one of these first 5 questions, because we've gone through 5 questions so far, and I'll ask a question to you and then see what you. So like I'm just Joe Blogs from the street.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that an approach as revolutionary as the Venus Project is necessary?
Well, it's not revolutionary in terms of what they're proposing. They're simply saying that they want to feed, house, educate the whole world, and they propose to take a survey of the world, of their resources, the individuals that do need housing, do need education, where would the hospitals be built, and then determine what is done with the resources that exist. If there is a shortage of any given resources, the scientists, the engineers, the educators are appointed to work on those issues, and the public is kept informed at all stages. So it's not revolutionary in terms of what they want to do. It's only revolutionary because people are not taught or educated or even know about this proposal existing.
Cool, man. Do you want to fire one of the 5 at me, dude?
Huh?
Do you want to fire one of the 5 questions at me?
Okay.
That we haven't already, or that you haven't already asked.
What is a resource-based economy, dude?
It's global, social and economic system that provides resources to the people within the carrying capacity of the Earth's resources, to benefit all human life and create a higher standard of living, and to protect the environment, or living harmoniously with the environment, as well as producing and distributing things locally and more efficiently, which makes sense. Instead of shipping stuff from halfway across the world just because it's cheaper.
Okay, well, I mean, this isn't really a question there, but I just want to sort of go back and forth. I mean, until you basically say fuck off because you got work, I don't. How would you do this? How would you make that happen?
I'm going to say I don't know, because you're better off talking to the scientists, the technicians, and the engineers. But if I was to speculate, then I'd say you need to implement the renewable technology to power the machines that will then produce and locally distribute food, as well as automated transportation systems that run on that renewable energy in the most efficient design possible, which, as far as I'm aware, is circular cities, but may be different in the future. And give people things without a price. Giving people things without a price tag will improve their standard of living and behaviors as well. I was going to like the automation of cars. I think if we automate cars and people stop getting run over, there's no accidents on the highways anymore, so there's less trauma. So that immediately means less people affected by trauma causing any irate behaviours. At least from that traumatic point of view, so it's less. You won't stop all like bad behaviours and stuff like that. It'll just be less, reduced, and I think that's what I like about a resource-based economy, the idea that we're trying to solve problems, not creating problems to create jobs. And although we'll never solve all problems, we're trying. We're always trying to improve on everything. So obviously locally producing and distributing, you save like traveling half the world on fossil fuels, to distribute something that's going to go off in a week, when it wasn't even that fresh when it arrived. Or yeah, just transporting random crap from like Taiwan or Thailand or any poor country, when you can produce it locally, and then have it shared and then recycled if it does run out. But when you design them, you're designing them to last as long as possible. So that helps with slowing down climate change. When you've automated all the tedious work, as much of the tedious work as you can possibly automate, then that means, and I'm going to speculate again here, I don't know for sure, but like 20 hours a week maximum for people. I work 20 hours a week and I've got a good life. I do a lot of things that I enjoy doing that also can help people. Like I've been learning how to grow my own food, joining in with community events, doing creative things that I enjoy as well, setting up like chess leagues and stuff. If people work less, then they can sleep more, which means when they wake up, they're ready for taking in more information. They'll be better educated. They'll be more social. They're not ratty with people because they're tired from work. They're not snappy or easily irritable. And again, this reflects on if they're a parent. If they're not tired from work, then when the child comes home from school or whatever, they're not kicking off at it for little things because they're easily irritable, which again helps with behaviour. So I think there's a lot of things that a resource-based economy would do better than we do now. Just efficiently and logically doing better than we do now. Whereas like I look at, one of my friends showed me like a program on immigration, and at the end, like, because they're trying to demonize all the immigrants for coming over, but there's one reason that people come over to England, and that is money. So like if all the people that hate the immigrants got into a resource-based economy as well, they'd be able to wave goodbye to all the people that they don't like, because they'd be able to go home and live a good life in their own home. But not just that, I think we leave England because the weather's crap. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off topic again. The program that I watched at the end of it, they said that for every so many immigrants that come in, that creates a job. And it's the same with like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Something that's a problem that we could fix, but if we fix it, then that means people lose their jobs. So we leave the problem to have a job. Whereas in a resource-based economy, we'd be fixing more and more problems. So we'd be able to like work less and less, uh, and or get to like start working on other problems that we didn't know about before. Yeah, I'll just keep going on a tangent. Will just stop me.
Well, all right. Just if you can shortly maybe give me your view. So you mentioned behaviors will change, which I agree with. What about those few who will still deviate, who may still have carryovers and are deviant, maybe even to the degree of, I don't know, murder, rape, such? How would those folks be dealt with?
Unlike just rammed in a prison and with other people that are in the same, they'd kind of be looked after, and the first thing we'd do is kind of look back to the history, try and realize what's made them do this. Have they had any head injury, like frontal cortex or whatever? If it's not head injury, look at the kind of upbringing they've had. Look at the peers, look at the parents, look at was it before the transition? Was it during a monetary society? Was it in a resource-based economy? And if it was just a random mutation, then like genetic mutation that messed up the frontal cortex, then I suppose we treat them as we treat like disabled people now, or mentally disabled people. We treat them as we know they don't mean to do wrong. We just try and help them to get on with life as well as possible, to have the best standard of living as possible without them hurting anybody. So like just keep them under supervision, and not beat them to death when they do something wrong. Try to restrain them. And I'm guessing in a resource-based economy, that'll be one of the problems to work out, how to restrain somebody without hurting.
Okay, and so lastly, where did you find this information out to be able to answer me?
What about the behavior?
Yeah.
I've only really watched like Robert Sapolsky lectures on human behavior, so that was the frontal cortex thing. My memory's crap, so like I've seen lectures by Jacques Fresco, and I think he mentioned something about we wouldn't treat the prisoners in a resource-based economy, or like not even prisoners, the people in a resource-based economy the way we treat prisoners now, because like we blame the people now, whereas in the future we'll realize that like most of the time it isn't their fault, or maybe even all of the time, depending on your view of free will.
Very cool, man. Thank you. That was very nice.
So I'm going to fire a question at you, Ludus. I'm trying to think which ones we haven't answered. I think we've gone through all the 5 now. Oh yeah, that was a question I had in the orientation the other day. Do you think during transition the most rich and powerful people that have got yachts, etc., would want all those things still? You know what I mean? Like they say they haven't got a yacht yet, but they were on the way to getting one. when we came into transition, and now they want a yacht. Do you think they'll be upset that they can't have a yacht straight away?
Man, that's a good, very good question.
Their best friend was a rich guy, and he had a yacht in the monetary society.
Well, it depends about the impact. Again, this is going to be completely speculation because obviously I'm no behavioral scientist. I just barely scratched the surface of sociology. It's yeah, I'm going to be talking through my hat. But to talk through my hat, um, yeah, I think it always depends on who's the bigger influence. And so, to the degree that he does borderline idolize the life of I got a yacht and therefore all the praise must come to me because I do have one, or just the fact of being able to say the word. I mean, certain people, literally, I've spoken to a friend who his sister works in media, in the type of media that literally gets to meet with big stars and producers, filmmakers. But so he tells me that she literally works there for one sole reason of being able to name drop.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've heard about this.
Okay, so you literally, I have served Johnny Depp. I have been preparing a dinner for Nicolas Cage, whoever, right? And you just do that because you just love the attention. So, to the degree that the transition is going to take care of the education side and really, really pump forward the, well, why do you want this? What's in it for you? Is it the recognition? Well, why do you seek recognition where in fact you could have the biggest recognition in seeking health for others? And in turn, the health will return to you because again, it's the whole point of why hate the system when the system, all it does is recommend to you the best next thing out of those most loved books that you keep talking about. Well, this is the next thing from the same author or similar author. Why wouldn't you want to know that? Or why wouldn't you want to know that now that amputated limb that you have not only is going to be able to be regrown due to some crazy genetic modification that has been tested for a long time, is now not only available, but it's free. And they show you immediately on whatever gadget you may be carrying how to find that place.
Mm-hmm.
So when the system takes care of you, there's absolutely no need to hate the system because you see the benefits. But so in regards to the boat, again, I don't know. I mean, literally, it just makes it sound like you're in between the two friends, and whichever one convinces you that their way of thinking is whatever it is that you have the words to describe, cooler, more benevolent, uh, you know, whatever those values are, however those values are manipulated, that's the end result, isn't it? Usually.
Yeah, I was thinking like originally that maybe when I asked this question in the orientation, maybe the guy with the yacht wouldn't use it all the time. So maybe the people with the yachts would start like time sharing. Yeah, spend some time on the yacht. I'm not there. You know what I mean? Like they'd have the information on the computer. But like also, I was thinking maybe
Wow.
with just what you said, like maybe we'd be pumping out information like you say through like a media that's that's showing people you don't have to be so egotistical with your things, you know what I mean? Or like that's not the way to be. It's not helping anybody. Why don't you share your yacht? You know what I mean? Like why don't you time share your yacht?
Oh, fuck. Wow, man. I mean, you kind of just completely straight went for it. That's a very clever way to look at it. But also, very cool. So we can connect both of our answers with a simple equation of, well, maybe now because it is scarce and millions of people don't have access to yachts, it's prestige. It's, hey, have a look. My shit is made out of whatever silk. You can never get it. But once the scientific procedure eliminates the prestige because in the click of a fucking button you got the best of that time, fucking whatever might it be, the computer, whatever, telephone communication, slippers, I don't give a shit, anything. There's no best something. It's always best for everybody at all time due to abundance. So maybe then the prestige itself would just become like an old sticker, just fall off. And again, not because some people think, that they should. It's just there's too many now to claim that yours is the best.
Yeah, they're no longer rare. I was thinking as well, do you think there would be like at any point an almost resource rationing? You know, like, I don't know. I again, it's just an out there, probably never going to happen. But if people say, oh, everybody wants a yacht and a Lamborghini Diablo, you know what I mean? Do you think there'd be like whoa, resources can't carry that? Don't be stupid. And
Well, I
and who
mean,
would say that?
I mean that's, I think it's a valid question, but it's only valid if we we both then have to agree that then the initial phases of education would have kind of failed.
Yeah,
Because
that's a
it's,
good
you know
point.
what I mean? Because if you didn't penetrate the person's neurons and neural lag to even want for that, to not realize that, dude, it's about efficiency, not you don't. What is it that you want, by the way? You know what I mean? All that survey of, so why the Lamborghini first and foremost? Is it the, again, prestige? What, do you just, have you ever sat in one? If you have, what is it? The leather seats that you like? What is it? Because now we have maglevs. It can get you anywhere in the world within, you know, whatever hours. What is it? Do you actually just want the efficiency of getting from A to B, or do you want the lavish drive? And if so, you'd realize humans make errors. You know what I mean? All of that they
Uh,
would have still went through if they even knew to request the Lamborghini in the first place.
yeah, and
So
yeah,
they
I think you just said
somehow
it right,
must
because
know.
I remember Jack saying something about if people don't stop eating food that's bad for them, like I don't think he said burgers or KFC and stuff like that, but if people didn't stop eating fast food, then you've not given the information correctly, and you need to find a different way of giving them the information. Um, but yeah, I suppose when it comes to the Lamborghini Diablo, you can say, well, we've got simulators now. Did you see
All
that?
right.
The one on the hydraulics? I want that.
That looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so nice.
But yeah, that's the thing as well. Like, I don't know whether you saw the. It looks like almost not a holodeck. It's not a holodeck, but it's like, you know, the virtual reality thing, and they go like up to a wall and like pretend to tap buttons, and they've got guns and stuff. I'm thinking there'll be a lot of that in the future, maybe.
I can't remember what it's called, man.
Oculus Rift or something.
Well, Oculus Rift is that, but you're literally they have that now. They're gonna have it in. I can't remember which
Is it like a
city.
theme park or something?
No, it literally was just a tube, a cylinder
Oh
in
yeah.
which you stand, and then they project not only the stuff on the wall, but also you will use the virtual reality. Um, but I don't know if that's, you know, it depends on what you want, because Microsoft now works on HoloLens. And essentially, instead of just being the virtual reality where it shuts off any other visuals around you, well, HoloLens is literally a see-through glass, and it projects images onto a real world.
Oh, like augmented reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And goes into visuals that way.
Yeah, cool, man.
It again, it's not who's the best, it's what's it for, what you want it to do, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I think right now, fun.
Right, yeah, sure.
There was a girl in, I think I know the circular one that you're talking about, the one where they like spin round and they can walk. And the one where she's walking through the dark, and it's like a haunted house thing, and something jumps out and she like takes it off. Yeah, I'd break it, man. But yeah, there's another one, and it's the Oculus Rift, but they've got walls, you know, like almost not like a
Yes,
maze, but
yes, it's recently announced, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it looks awesome. So I think maybe like all these things that during the transition people might want to go to, you could always virtual reality.
Well,
Just
yeah,
just
yeah.
to I don't know, wean them off the shit slowly.
Well, because obviously the real, as far as I remember, the real drive when Fresco describes it is the purpose of the experimental city is obviously to troubleshoot for existing city and then for the next and to improve, but also to serve as a theme park, or rather a showcase. So people do come over, they do visit, they do look at, oh, okay, so this stuff is this way, therefore you don't no longer need to blah 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 blah, right?
Yeah.
And it eliminates whatever, stress or need for tobacco, whatever it is. Um, but obviously thinking about traveling there and back, and depending on where in the world it is, it's the same thing as, I mean, to say any other country is functioning, to see how socialists live, right? Whatever kind of socialist country exists. For you to do that, you still need to actually travel. Again, money, right?
Yeah.
So in transition, I think I agree with you more so than going to see the actual city, if that's more viable. And again, who even knows if that's going to be a method that's available to the public? Could be that all the money has been unfortunately spent to troubleshoot experimental city and the future techniques. It's all speculation at this point anyway,
Yeah.
but it's a fun speculation.
Okay, dude, we're going up on the hour, so have you got anything left before I start the broadcast?
Nah, I enjoyed this. That's all I got.
Yeah, me too, man.